Today we're going to be talking about buying a home in Washington State. We're going to be going through every step from A to Z on what this whole process looks like. So it starts with picking your real estate broker. Your broker is going to be there with you every step of the way, and they're going to help you write an offer. They're going to help you point out issues with the home, anything that you might not catch yourself, and they're a really good person to have on your side when going into making one of the most expensive purchases you'll ever make. So there's three ways of assessing your financials. There's pre-qualification, where you go to the lender website, you input your information, and they do a soft check, and they give you a ballpark range on what it is you're qualified for. It's not official, and it's not good enough to be submitted with an offer. For that, you would need at least pre-approval, and that's where you actually go to the bank, you sit down with the lender, and they go through your 2-year history, they check your credit, they do a hard pull, and they give you a conditional approval. This conditional approval is good enough to be submitted with an offer. Pre-underwritten approval is underwriters were put back into place back in 2008 when the Big Short happened, and the position was created to avoid that Big Short ever happening again. And what the underwriter's job is you're not going to like them. They're going to go in there, they're going to turn your life upside down, they're going to look at your credit, your 2-year history, but a lot more in depth, and they're going to ask for letters of explanation on your $5 purchases. They're basically going to check everything to make sure that you truly qualify for the amount. Otherwise, it's a bad investment for the bank. However, once you get your underwritten approval, your offer is as strong as a cash offer. It's considered a guarantee of a loan. The next step is going to be casual looking. This is where we do what we like to call the dry run. And what the dry run is, we go out and one day we look at a bunch of homes, like 5 to 6. We get an idea of what it is you like, what it is you don't like. Multi-level, split level, doesn't matter. We look at them all and we put together a nice criteria, and from there we can know what to look out for when the right home comes on the market. We use the process of elimination to focus on the top priorities and your preferences, right? So we're only focusing on homes that are the right location, the right size, has the right number of bedrooms, and the desired amenities. Video tours are an option in case you're busy one day and the perfect home comes on the market and you really want to take a look at it. I can run out to the property, I can take a video and explain everything that I see, and I can treat it basically as a normal tour, and we can hop on a call and go over any questions that you guys might have about that property. So we've gotten our pre-approval, we've done the dry run, we know what we like, we've eliminated the ones that we don't like, and now we are only looking at homes that we like under the qualifications that we are eligible for. Next comes understanding the market and market seasonality. So understanding market seasonality is super important to know when is a good opportunity to buy so you don't miss those opportunities when they arise. So no matter what's going on in the market, winter is when you have the least amount of inventory, and May, June is when you have the highest amount of inventory. Interest rates are going to change, they're going to fluctuate, they're going to go up and down throughout the years, the market's going to change. However, the overall seasonality, that usually stays the same. Winter is slow, spring is hot. Now let's dive into the why. So in September, school starts. Buyers and sellers don't like to uproot their kids. So a lot less buyers, a lot less people selling. Then comes October, and it starts getting dark after 5, and nobody likes to tour homes when it's dark out. You can't really see how the light affects the outside of the property, and more importantly, you can't see how the sunlight illuminates the inside of the home. And also, this is when everybody gets off work, it's around 5:30 p.m. Then comes November and December, and now it starts getting dark at 4 p.m. And then on top of that, you got family-oriented holidays, so people aren't going to want to be looking for homes, people aren't going to want to be uprooting their lives. They'd rather spend that time with their families. The people that are looking to buy at this time are people looking for a really good deal, and the people that are looking to sell are people that usually have to get their home sold. Then comes spring. And the thing about Washington State is we get 9 months of rain and gloom, and we get 3 months of possibly the best summer in the entire nation. So people like to naturally enjoy those summers. So a lot of buyers are wanting to get prepared for the summer by getting their home bought. A lot of sellers are wanting to get prepared for the summer by getting their home sold. So then summer comes around and there's still quite a bit of inventory available that didn't get sold during the spring. And in addition to that excess of inventory, you have less buyers because those buyers are out on vacation and doing other things that involve the summer, enjoying the summer. So in Washington State, summer is a good time to buy. It's the time when there's the most amount of inventory with the least amount of buyers. So we find a house. Now what? Next step is going to be making an offer. The 5 steps to making an offer is going to be figuring out the price that you want, figuring out the terms that we want, negotiating with the seller to agree to that price and those terms, sign all the documentation, and then making sure we hit our deadlines. The purchase and sale agreement is a document that you need to purchase a home. Once you have this document and a legal description, this is a legal binding document to buy a house. So with this purchase and sale agreement, there comes this thing called earnest money. And what an earnest money is it's a remedy for the seller in the event that the buyer defaults. Let me give you an example. So let's say that you're the seller and I'm the buyer. I come to you with an offer that you really like, you accept it, 10, 15 days go by, you take your home off the market, it goes from available to pending. You're already got a new place lined up, you're gonna get all your stuff packed, you're probably already all packed by this point, you're ready to move into this new place, and then I am still looking for new homes. I find another house I like better and I reside my offer. So now I'm screwing you over big time. Your marketing's all messed up, so now you have to go back on the market. Your status changes from pending back to active. So all these buyers are going to be thinking, what's wrong with the house? Why did the last buyer back out? And the chances of you getting that home for the same price and terms goes down quite a bit. So what the earnest money is it's a remedy to the seller in the event that that buyer defaults. So you put that deposit down, usually it's between 1% and 5%. The closer you look to 5%, the more serious you look. The closer you get to 1%, the less serious you look. We usually recommend putting down between at least 3 to 3.5%. So now, if I were to back out with that 3.5% down, that seller, you, would get to keep that money as a remedy. So because of earnest money, we have these things called contingencies, aka protection of your earnest money. Your offer is contingent on financing. Let's say you apply for financing and you get denied or you don't qualify for the amount that you need. Because you don't qualify and it's not your fault you can't qualify, you have that financing contingency, so you're allowed to back out of the offer while retaining your earnest money. Let's say you have an inspection contingency on your offer and the inspection goes through and they find $100,000 worth of repairs and you realize, I can't afford this, this is going to be ridiculous. So because you have that inspection contingency, you're allowed to back out of the offer and retain that earnest money. So that's what I mean by terms. All the terms on the offer, right? How many ways can you get out of the contract and retain your earnest money? In a more competitive environment, when there's a bunch of people buying, and there's a bunch of people putting in an offer for one home, the seller is going to pick the offer with A, the price that they like, and B, the offer with the least amount of contingencies, the least amount of ways the buyer can back out. Next, let's talk about the two different types of markets, a heavy buyer's market and a heavy seller's market. So what all this stuff has to do with are those contingencies, right? Those due diligences. Contingent on financing, contingent on inspection, title, etc. We're just doing our due diligences. The difference is, in a buyer's market, those due diligences can work for you as a way to leverage a deal. And since the seller doesn't want to lose you, they'll be a lot more willing to go with the terms that you set forth. But in a seller's market, when sellers are receiving a bunch of different offers, the leverage is more on their side. So the main difference to understand is, when are we doing those due diligences? Are we doing it before we submit an offer, like we do in a seller's market, or are we doing it after, like we would in a buyer's market? So that's the main difference to understand, is just when are we doing those due diligences? And right now we're in more of a seller's market, so it's better to get as competitive as an offer as possible, especially before springtime comes, when it becomes even more of a seller's market. Now let's cover out-of-pocket costs. So you got your earnest money, which is going to be the biggest amount, and that's going to be, let's say, 3.5% of the median home price in Washington is about $600,000. So let's say $21,000 for your earnest money. And on top of that, you got your title and escrow, which is $2,000 to $5,000. Your home inspections, which range between $400 and $600. Your appraisal, which is $600 to $1,000, and then your specialist inspections, which are $250 plus per. So on a median home price sale of $600,000, you're running about $26,000. So who is involved in the transaction? It's going to be me, your agent, my managing broker to make sure everything is running smoothly on my side, the listing broker, their managing broker, the home inspector who's going to be in charge of inspecting the home if you have an inspection contingency, the lender, their assistant, the underwriter, and that's the person that's going to go in there and flip your life upside down, the appraiser, that person gives you an opinion of the value of a home, the processor to make sure the whole purchase goes smoothly, the escrow closer who's responsible for holding and dispersing funds at the end of the transaction, their assistant, the title officer who makes sure that the title is clear of any liens or encumbrances, the notary who notarizes the deed and submits it to the county clerk's office to officialize it, and the insurance broker. And there you have it. Those are all the steps involved in purchasing a home in Washington State. If you guys have any questions or you want to have a one-on-one with me, got my phone number, give me a call, and we'll talk more about it then. Otherwise, thank you guys, and let's go find yourselves your dream home.